I'm here in Medjugorje in front of St. James Church, which is here, and I'm with, what's your name?
Gergely, Bogányi.
Where are you from?
I'm from Hungary.
And you said how many times you came here?
Well, roughly about something like 10 times
10
I've been
times.
here, or even more, yes,
What,
in the
what?
past 20 years.
Wow. And what did you think, when you heard the first time the story about Medjugorje? What did you think at the
Tears
time?
in my eyes.
Tears in your eyes.
Yes, well, I was quite young,
Mhm,
and I was reading the messages
mhm,
of Medjugorje.
mhm,
That's when I first met with the subject,
mhm,
and I immediately felt the power
mhm,
and the tenderness
mhm,
of Our Lady
mhm,
that is talking to us. And I was shocked by the fact how she, from up there, can come all the way down
mhm,
to care about us and make an effort of giving messages
mhm.
to human beings. I was so shocked and so moved by that. So ever since, I had a great compassion and
Affinity to come here.
affinity, definitely yes. And then finally, I managed to come all the way here first time, and then always kept coming back.
And how was the experience when you came first time here? What happened here for you?
Um, I didn't experience a straightaway miracle,
Mm-hmm,
and I was not expecting that either,
mm-hmm,
uh, because because it is not why you go to such a place. I mean, the holy host, the
mm-hmm,
consecrated host, is the same in Hungary or in Venezuela or anywhere in the world,
mm-hmm,
with the fullness of God's presence.
mm-hmm,
But the circumstances, however, may be very different.
mm-hmm,
And that's what I experienced here in Medjugorje as well.
mm-hmm.
Among other places as well, I used to go to different,
Which ones?
well, I have been to Mexico, to
Guadalupe.
Guadalupe, yes, and quite many other major pilgrimage places for pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm,
However, here in Medjugorje, for the first time and also now,
mm-hmm,
I have experienced the intensity
mm-hmm,
of the presence of the ones above. And each time that you go to such a place, it's above all, it is a spiritual journey, or first of all.
mm-hmm,
And where it does start is the in-depth thinking, and finally
mm-hmm,
of this hassled world that we are present in. That's fine, but it's most of the time too hectic and
loud.
too loud, especially too loud and too much on the surface. And here you have the chance to go to really go into yourself and to really experience the presence of God. As simple as that. So the first thing you do here is penance. That's ultimately the first. You cannot escape that.
Mm-hmm. What
And
does it mean for you, penance? If somebody listening and doesn't know what it means in the
uh,
Catholic way, what would you tell them?
well,
Oh.
in a Catholic way, that is to go to confession.
Mm-hmm,
That is that is that without the first step, you cannot do the second step.
mm-hmm,
And this always is the first step, to get deep in yourself and really think of all your sins, your trespasses, your mistakes,
mm-hmm,
bigger, smaller, all kind. And then when you have the incredible grace being a Catholic and to have the chance to go to confession,
mm-hmm,
nothing can overpower this.
mm-hmm,
And this must be and is the first step in a retreat, official or not official retreat.
mm-hmm.
So that's where you start. And in Medjugorje, many people told me that the confession will be special. And I was like, okay, why?
Mm-hmm.
The priest is the same. The priest, it will give you the absolution if he will.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it so special? As long as I was here and experienced it.
Mm-hmm. What happened to you?
Well, it is just such an intense connection.
Encounter,
Somehow
no? Somehow.
encounter also, but also a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I understand that really everywhere it should be, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe is the same, but however, it is more intense here.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the number one. And then for example, suffering
Mm-hmm.
is a key to success.
To come close to God, no?
In the as well,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's what you may have the chance or the grace to experience here, a little bit of a suffering. What do I mean? For example, going up the hill, Križevac, or the Apparition Hill, is not necessarily a simple physical action, because you need to kind of suffer the stones. So it may be a little bit demanding, but what you're doing during, and that's the key, is that you're deepening to yourself and praying. You are praying the rosary. You are meditating on the stages of the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And while you are doing that, and while a little bit you are suffering, not much, but a little bit, you are going through a cleansing, and going and coming down and going through all that, you are just purified in a unique way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have experienced. And of course, then many other things, like social things. For example, in the vicinity of the church and also elsewhere here in Medjugorje, it is normal to give a blessing for the food, for example. Or it is very normal to go and on the streets and have a coffee with a rosary. I love that. And at home, I am always doing that. But, people really see me, give me a strange look. What is this? Why is this so strange? It is not fashionable anymore. It is maybe we don't need that anymore. And there is this one guy who is still, going around with the rosary and blessing the food. And anyway, it is so uncomfortable. Here, it is the most natural thing. So here, for example, also some other places, but here you have the authentical approach socially, what you should have elsewhere indeed. So that's what I enjoy incredibly much. With the rosary, with the blessings, with the prayers. And people, for example, they are smiling from their souls to you. And you do the same to other people. It is so nice and so simple. The shortest distance between two people is a smile. Not an artificial, stupid smile. That is also can be nice, but a real smile.
From
For
inside
example,
out.
yeah, of course. For example, now some people stopped me to make a photo. It is a simple thing, but it was just such a caring way. And we speak the same language
Of the heart.
of the heart, of the soul. So anywhere you look, no matter how well or not so well you are dressed. For example, me, I'm not very well dressed, but we are a family here. And also another social thing, which I find very important and encouraging, is that there are a lot of people here. And now here we can experience that we are powerful. We are not just a small remnant of somewhere. We are a major group of people, very, very strong inside. And also together, we are representing a very major power. So that is also a social experience that may strengthen your view. So when you're going, or I'm going home in a few days' time, I'm sure I will be much more confident in a good sense and strong.
Charged by Our Lady, no?
Definitely. It's such a charge
People
we are
say like
getting
a
here.
battery charged here, no? Again, with faith and trust and
Absolutely, this
connection
is
to
this is a
God.
good expression to put it as well. Yes.
And you were talking about confession. What would you tell people? Maybe they listen to you now, they say, wow, this is powerful what he's saying, and it is powerful what you're saying. I want to go to confession, but I'm so scared about what will the priest tell. I didn't go for 20 years. What would you tell them?
It is very good to be afraid a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very bad not to trust fully.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are neglecting your difficulties, then it's very bad, because yes, you have sinned. We all have.
Exactly. Me
And
first.
you don't know the other ones, but everyone normally.
Mm-hmm.
And it is normal and good to have a fear. It is more than normal. It is essential. But to make the step is as well essential.
Mm-hmm.
You will never regret it in your life. To put a heavy stone down,
Mm-hmm.
it's unreplaceable feeling. It is the best ever you
feel free, light.
could do in your life.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, to carry so much difficulties and yes, sins and heavy stuff in your backpack is even more difficult than to once put it really down. And it's not the priest who you are talking to. It's not the priest who are giving the absolution.
Mm-hmm.
He is only an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
He can judge, he can listen, he can tell advices, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And in here, especially, it's incredibly nice. I happened to go to a priest from the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it's just overwhelmingly nice. And my friends also said the same. So, well, anyway, but it is God who you are talking to, and he is expecting you to go to confession. He's expecting you and awaiting you with an incredible warm heart.
Mm-hmm. We come to the next question here, because a lot of people in this world, they think God the Father is an old, angry man with a white beard. He waits for us to put us to hell, waits for a mistake. And he's not like this. Can you describe God the Father?
Certainly not. It is impossible, of course, by all means. But I mean, and nothing could be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. He's love himself.
Mm-hmm.
How could he? I mean, but there is one condition to that, and that is to ask for pardon. I mean, if you already, only in your soul, the question arises that I maybe should ask pardon, he already is incredibly joyful for you to already give the sign. And then you only need to really act and put it into action.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And can you tell the people what Jesus did for you in your life?
It's impossible because well, everything,
Mm-hmm.
starting with that he himself, the Holy Trinity, they created me personally and individually. I mean, excuse me, what better can what else? How can you top this?
Mm-hmm.
This is already more than, if I would, suffer my whole life, it would be even worth it still. But the graces that I am and we all are getting continuously is immense.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first glass of water in the morning is a gift. It's not what you have earned. It's a gift from God, as your life is. And every person has been individually crafted into perfection by the Holy Trinity before you have even, born. You were born. So can you ask for more?
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing. And also, every person has his or her individual duty on earth, what nobody else can do to fulfill.
Yeah.
Only her or him.
Mm.
So that should give such a dignity to every person that every one of us, we really should feel the most thank for God for having created us with an individual duty and mission that nobody else can do. Nobody else. So therefore, we all are incredibly important in his eyes, and he's awaiting us to find and then fulfill
And to say
our
the fiat,
individual mission.
like Our Lady, fiat, to say yes to the mission as well, no?
Yes.
And very beautiful. That means at the end that if there are people out there who are not happy with themselves, think about what you just said, because we are incredibly valuable. No?
Yes, definitely. I am never satisfied with myself and always very sorry for myself. How can I be again forgetting things, doing things, all kind of bad things? Okay, but we are falling all the time.
Yeah.
That's not what matters, but how we stand up and search for our goal and fulfill our mission regardless.
Beautiful. And you said you always have been Catholic?
Yes.
I see you have a personal relationship with Christ. You can see that. How can a person can have this, experience the living God of Israel? How can they experience God personally in their life?
Everything is a grace.
Yeah.
But you can ask for graces. You can ask God personally to grant you an individual grace addition to what you already have. But first, you also may want to recognize your own graces, what you may not have recognized yet, because you have it and you think it's automatic, but not quite. Oh, we have so many gifts that we don't necessarily recognize.
Beautiful. And at the end, what do you like most about Medjugorje? What is for you here? Do you have the mountains, the church, adoration? What do you like most here in Medjugorje?
That God is arranging the meetings. We don't need to schedule. How I met you here was that the other cafe had a shadow and I loved the sun. And I told my friends, hey, let's go to another one because they have sun. And that's how we came here and
I was leaving
met.
and we met.
Yes, but I have experienced this so many times, so that especially in such a place like Medjugorje, it's like God is arranging and managing your ways. So just come over, give yourself to God, give a chance to God to guide you. Don't plan necessarily if not needed, so very precisely. So let it happen and you will find your way.
You pray the rosary?
Absolutely.
Why? Why you're so convinced? For old ladies, we say.
Yes, also.
Yeah.
Of course, but the rosary is the key for everything.
Why?
Well, it has always been, so that is maybe a historical explanation, and all the messages are actually going into the rosary. So pray the rosary. I'm not only playing the normal rosaries, but also the for example the shorter ones, the Divine Mercy Chapel.
You play, Elizabeth Kindleman, The Flame of Love from Hungary?
Of course.
What would you tell people about The Flame of Love? I think this is very important for this time.
The Flame of Love has a key role at the, so to say, at the end of end times, which is now. Not tomorrow, is now. Also tomorrow, but also today. So the Flame of Love is an extension of the Holy Mary, which is needed for this incredibly turbulent time. So it is just more powerful.
And what would you tell people about the flame? They should pray the flame of love rosary, or what is important? Unity prayer. What would you tell them about the
Definitely, flame of love prayer is just the same, but even more powerful, intentionally meant for the times we're living now. And the unity prayer is fantastic because it's short and very powerful. So I would definitely, for such people than me, for example, I never have any time. So the unity prayer is a winner.
Wonderful. You know it by heart?
Yes, but not in
Not now,
English.
in English. Doesn't matter. So to tell the people what is the flame of love, it's a visionary from Hungary, no? Elizabeth Kindleman.
Yes.
Check it out on the internet. You can find you find the unity prayer and the flame of love rosary. And what can I say? What a beautiful interview. Do you have anything else from the heart what you would like to say at the moment, or do you have anything on the heart what you'd like to say right now?
Well, thank you very much. My pleasure. I have a lot to say, but I think I tried to summarize my feelings now.
It was beautiful. Thank you so much for this interview.
My pleasure.